This is Rachel Cochran, Water Quality Extension Associate with The Ohio State University, here today with Alan Leininger of Defiance County Extension and Tyler Miller of Defiance County Soil and Water, and we're here to talk about cascading waterways. So Tyler, would you mind telling me what is a cascading waterway, what's it do, and how can it be used by farmers in Northwest Ohio?
So, I mean, both waterways and wetlands are great best management practices to put in field, in conditions like that, to be able to help reduce nitrogen, phosphate from leaving our fields. And I guess it seems like a good way to join those practices. I mean, and we're hoping that like a waterway does a nice job of basically pulling out the particulate phosphorus because of the grasses that exist there. So, I mean, in the particulate basically is the phosphate that is tied to the soil itself. And obviously, when it runs in that grass of the grass waterway, it slows that flow down. And a lot of times, those soil particles can fall out of that because of their reduced speed.
Mhm.
But then when you factor in the the wetland portion or those pool areas in there, that gives it a chance to basically lose that DRP portion. The dissolved reactive phosphorus has a potential to get out of there, basically because in theory that would go down through the soil. Now sometimes that doesn't happen every time that we'd like, because like in the spring, for example, we get a heavy rain event and then you go 3 days and you get another heavy rain event.
Yeah.
Obviously that water probably hasn't moved down through that soil profile very well. But a good example would be, late spring going into summer here, when obviously I just looked at those things yesterday, and all but two of them were basically completely dry. And so, any of the phosphate that had been in that water that would have had the potential to run off now did not run off. It went into the soil there, and some of those were getting some growth of wetland species on the side slopes of that, and that would give us a potential to not lose those nutrients. And so it seems like a great combination of two practices we know work very well at helping with nutrient losses, and we're trying to combine them into one that in a smaller area that kind of works within the agriculture environment, because wetlands don't always work great in a field setting, because a lot of times you have to go maybe a whole field to be able to do it. And a lot of farmers aren't real eager to say, yeah, I'll set aside this 20 acres for this wetland and not
Yeah.
be able to farm it. This way they're able to farm the portions they were farming before, stop the gully erosion that was going because of the waterway portion, and also insert another best management practice in there.
If this were to become, a big practice up in Northwest Ohio, what time of year would you suggest putting one of these in?
Um, so we would like to see if these were going to go in. I would go in with our normal seeding deadlines in mind, and with that in mind, I would say somewhere in August till the middle of September. Reason being is you don't want to do it when you have the potential for large rainfall events, because as soon as you start digging those pools, they're going to try to fill up as soon as you get a rainfall event. And so usually during that August time frame, it's dry out. You'll be able to do that work and not have to worry about some of the larger rainfall events happening. And even if you get a rain, a lot of times the ground's drier, it kind of sucks it up. And it works in with your seeding. It's very important to get those grasses on the waterway portion going, because if they don't, you'll start to have the erosion down the middle again, and then you really have yourself a kind of a disaster on your hands, because you would have to fix that up. Very important to get those grasses going. So I would say late summertime.
So, are the sizes and the number of cells relevant to like the slope or the amount of water running off, or how do you decide what size?
Oh, I'd have to go back and look at my exact formula that I ran, but bottom line, there is it's the amount of water retention. And you did ask a question before, and I didn't answer it because I was getting too long-winded. But um, you could go to your soil and water to do this. I mean, I think the ideal was out east is you would start with an existing waterway that you already had enrolled in either a CRP or you had done yourself, and said, hey, I kind of want to up the ante on this practice and go with another best management practice, which would be the wetland component. And then you would install that wetland area in the middle. So you could do that through a district. The problem is right now the funding is not there to do this on a large scale basis, because people want to see the proof of their benefits because they know they're going to cost more, and so they want to see that they're going to be beneficial. And that's where I think Ohio State and NRCS and ODA and all these private sampling groups are interested in finding the answers as to how much is the benefit. Is it worth it for us to do it? I mean, should we really up the ante and be doing these on every waterway we do, or is there select areas they need to be? We don't really know the answer to that yet, and that's why testing is very important.
Are cascading waterways an eligible H2 Ohio best management practice at this?
They are not at this point. So H2 Ohio has been kind of limited to those, I call it strictly agronomic practices at this point. And that's for varied reasons. Funding is one reason. And another reason is because of the lack of knowledge of them, how much benefit are we getting from them? Is it the best bang for our buck? And so they want to try to find that out the best they can. I hope they continue to be put in because I think they are a good practice. I don't know if they belong everywhere, but that's kind of like any BMP. No BMP is a silver bullet for any, for our phosphate issues or whatever, but they all have their spots.
Well, Tyler, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about this.
Good. I'm glad I could help, and I definitely got you 3 minutes of talking. And anyway, so
Definitely.